It was late morning. I observed a vehicle traveling westbound on Sycamore. Started off as just a routine traffic stop.
Paul, I'm getting an audible on your beat on Monty Lane.
I observed he didn't have a front license plate. I'll be at Sycamore and South Melrose on an unlicensed white van. Stand by for the plate.
Fuck! God damn it! You keep your fucking mouth shut, you got me? Not one fucking word unless you want to get deported. I'm gonna kill you my fucking self.
I initiated the traffic stop and contacted the driver, and I found the driver he didn't have proper identification or any identification for that matter, and had no identification on the vehicle. I removed the driver from the car, placed him in the back seat of my car. I also observed approximately 8 females in the vehicle and several backpacks and, articles of different things, and they looked a little nervous. Looked like something was going on. They were hiding something, possibly some prostitution. When my partner got there, I advised her what was going on and what I had observed. And our plan was we were going to take each female out of the car and then try and interview them individually. What's your name?
Carla.
Carla? What's your last name, Carla?
De La Cruz.
De La Cruz. Do you have a middle name?
Rosas.
Rosas?
They appeared to be very scared, frightened.
You work for Jose? Where do you live?
And not exactly telling the truth about where they were from and what they were doing that day.
How old are you, Carla?
18.
What's your date of birth?
January.
Can you look at me up here? January what?
22nd.
What year?
1986.
Okay. And where do you live?
Oceanside.
Where in Oceanside? You don't know? You don't know where you live? During the interviews, I found that there was a lot of discrepancy in their ages, where they lived. None of them knew where they lived.
I don't know, we just moved there.
They hadn't seen their family.
They're in Mexico.
They'd been brought over by somebody else who they didn't know the name of. Some of them were from Mexico, some from other countries. Do you have a middle name?
No.
No?
A lot of the girls appeared to be very young, approximately 14, 15 years old. They're all telling me they're about anywhere from 18 to 20. One of the youngest looking girls, Carla, told me she was 18. She appeared to be about 14 years in age. She was pretty upset and fearful.
Did somebody hurt you?
And she was doing things against her will and that she was hurting in her private area.
Who did that?
The men.
What men, honey?
And she eventually broke down and told me that she was having sex with men that were brought to the house.
I see her.
They're all pretty much telling me that they're with Jose, but as we got down the line, the younger one's telling me that they go to a home and she's with men that touch her, and Jose brings them to a home. It's pretty much the same deal with all of them.
Let's make a phone call and we'll get somebody else out here and they can talk to them.
Okay.
You want to watch them? I'm going to check out the van real quick.
Okay.
When I opened up the rear of the van, I noticed there were several rolled up mats. I noticed a lot of large empty black trash bags and several white regular-sized plastic bags. The white plastic bags contained several condoms, several used condoms. We found that the rolled-up mats are usually used for bedding of some kind, and the trash bags are commonly used as a possible curtain to provide privacy. Going through some of the backpacks in the van, we found several articles of clothing. A lot of the girls had journals in their backpacks. There were a few condoms in the backpacks. They obviously were dressed in skimpier clothing, and a lot of the clothing in the backpacks that they would change out to later. This was probably a group that was going out to the labor fields and provide a service for the migrant workers out in the fields. After we had talked to a few of them, and with the stuff that I'd found in the van, it was apparent that there was some sort of prostitution or possibly even some human trafficking.
I'm Sheriff Bill Collender. The scene you have just witnessed is becoming increasingly familiar. Young girls, some as young as 13 and 14, are being commercially exploited as prostitutes by hardened sex traffickers. An extremely high percentage of these girls are severely traumatized. They are terrified of the trafficker and fearful of retaliation against their family members back home. They are also frightened of law enforcement and scared of being deported. In this video, the deputies did the right thing. They looked beneath the surface. They noticed the expression of fear and depression on the girls' faces. They observed backpacks with several changes of clothing. They saw bedrolls, large dark-colored trash bags, large amounts of condoms and lubricants. They also found plastic shopping bags with discarded tissues and condoms, journals, and other forms of evidence. Most importantly, they interviewed each girl separately and treated each one of them as a victim. As a result, the victims received much-needed services and were given the opportunity to assist in the prosecution against the trafficker. Investigating sex trafficking requires a heightened awareness on our part. We must have a multi-agency, multidisciplinary approach from local, state, federal agencies, and non-governmental organizations. Together, we can make a difference and prosecute those who prey on the vulnerable.
Yo sé que la trajiste aquí. Y yo sé
¿Estás
que
loco o
no,
qué?
que
¿Estás
no.
borracha? En mi casa yo puedo hacer lo que yo quiera. Esta es mi casa. Esta es mi casa. Yo puedo hacer lo que yo quiera. Siempre dices lo mismo.
Yo sé que tú no andas
Siempre
con
me
ella.
culpas
Yo
a mí.
te miro. Yo sé que tú andas con ella.
¿Andas borracha?
No,
No. Estás loca. Cállate, lo que te voy a decir es lo mismo. Cállate. Cállate.
911, what's your emergency?
Someone is being beaten in the house next door.
Okay, slow down. Give me the address.
Okay, 321 Elm Street in Vista.
Can you still hear the noises?
Yes, and it's getting louder. Can you come right away? Someone's getting hurt.
Ma'am, we got deputies on the way.
Deputy Perkins and I responded to the location regarding a domestic violence call.
Someone's crying in there. Hi, Sheriff's Department. Can we come in?
We made contact with a Hispanic couple, probably in their 40s.
So esposa?
What happened?
Sí. Sí?
See? Okay, what's your name?
I contacted the male half. His story didn't make any sense. He denied everything. My partner, Deputy Perkins, was talking to the female half, who was bleeding about the face. She stated her husband had beaten her, and it was obvious that he had beaten her.
You guys married? You are married? You have any children? No. Who else
Is there anybody else in the house?
Yeah.
See what to say. Thank you.
In the bedroom? Who's in the bedroom?
During the interview with the couple, it was indicated that there was another person in the back room.
No?
You don't know who she is? No?
Do you live here?
Okay.
No. There's someone else in the back of the house? Okay, stay right here for me. What's going on here?
As I entered the room, I found a white male, probably in his 20s, who was in the process of pulling his pants up.
You everything illegal on you?
No.
No? You mind if I check real quick?
Go for it.
Go ahead and spread your legs.
I talked to the white male. He didn't really have a good excuse for being there. He was very vague in his responses.
She's your friend, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey, partner, I got one coming out to you.
A very young Hispanic female was laying on a dirty mattress on the floor.
Alma? How old are you, Alma?
18,
18? What's your date of birth?
February 18, 1991.
19.
She told me that she had been brought to the United States about 2 weeks ago from Mexico.
And you don't know who this guy is?
No.
Why did he bring you here from Mexico?
To clean houses?
To clean houses? And have you been cleaning any houses?
No.
What has he been having you do?
Bringing people in.
You bring people in or he brings people in?
He brings people in.
He brings guys in here?
Yeah.
To do what?
Touching my private parts.
They touch your private parts?
Yeah. And have sex with me.
They touch you in your private parts and they have sex with you?
Yeah.
The guys that he brings in here?
Yes.
Well, that's not going to happen anymore, okay? I need you to come with me, all right?
During my interview with the young female, I realized that she had been a victim of human trafficking.
I'm Rick Emerson, Chief of the Chula Vista, California Police Department. In the scene you have just witnessed, everything seems routine. But notice how the officers were tuned in to the indicators of human trafficking. On the surface, this was a dispatched radio call regarding a 415 family dispute. But upon further investigation, the officers discovered why the man was beating his wife. She was complaining about the sexual advances he was making to the 14-year-old girl in the back room. Traffickers smuggled the girl into the U.S. from Mexico under false pretenses and coerced her into prostitution through the use of physical and sexual abuse. Thanks to the vigilance of the officers, the young girl was rescued. They certified her as a victim of severe form of trafficking. This provided her with much-needed services. She assisted in the prosecution, received a monetary settlement and a civil suit, and most importantly was reunited with her family. What you witnessed was a good example of how collaboration on all levels can assist victims of human trafficking. Sexual exploitation is an underreported and misidentified epidemic. Only by working closely together can we secure the convictions needed to incarcerate these predators. They exploit their victims and rob them of their hopes and dreams.
Prior to this particular raid, the Sheriff's Department received a large amount of complaints from residences and local businesses in the immediate area. The complaints came as a result of a large amount of men loitering in and around that specific residence. From the complaints, we strongly suspected that this location was a brothel. Traffickers bring boys and girls across the San Diego-U.S. border on a daily basis. Some of these victims are from the Ukraine and other Eastern European countries. News about the brothels spread generally by word of mouth. The element of surprise is extremely important. Although we take every precaution, many times when we enter these residences, we never know what we might encounter.
Don't move! Bedroom clear!
Bedroom clear!
Bedroom clear!
These brothels are very transitory and are very cheaply put together. It is not uncommon to find as many as 5 to 10 women working within a brothel. It is not uncommon to find women as young as 12 years old working inside these brothels. Some of these women refused to testify in court, but they supplied the officers with information on other brothels in the immediate area.
Usually in these raids, we find an abundance of evidence. In the kitchen, we found condoms and lubricants. In this case, we found stopwatches and found they were being used to time the visits of the clients. Most of these places sell liquor. In this case, we found a refrigerator full of beer. A lot of times we find detailed records. This time I found a notebook with the names of the girls, the number of clients, and the times of the visits. These brothels can generate up to thousands of dollars a week for the traffickers. The bedrooms are simply furnished. They use bed sheets hung over wire for partitions. More often, there's 2 or more mattresses in the room to make more room for the girls. On the floor, we find plastic bags with condoms, lubricants, discarded tissue, and other garbage. Sometimes beside the bed, we'll find the girls' backpacks with a change of clothing. It's not uncommon to find teddy bears. These girls can be really young. We're becoming aware that not only girls, but boys are being used in human trafficking. In this raid, we actually found a young boy. Okay, just so you understand, For your safety and my safety, everyone's been handcuffed, all right? What I'm gonna do is take these handcuffs off, all right? I asked the boy his name and how he got here.
Francisco.
Francisco? How old are you, Francisco? It's all right.
19.
Okay. How long you been here?
2 months.
Okay. How did you get here?
They brought me.
Okay. Who's they?
The men.
Okay. Are they part of the guys out here that we arrested?
Yes.
When you came, did someone promise you work?
Yes.
What type of job did they say you were going to do? He told me he had been promised work as a dishwasher and that he worked in the house with the girls. Do you have any documents with you, your birth certificate or anything?
They have it.
They hold your documents?
They get me a work called.
What type of work do they have you do here? Do you do housework or?
They
I can't help you unless you help us. And I can't help all these other girls out here unless you are honest with me, okay? Okay. I know. How old are you now?
12.
Okay. I finally got him to admit what he really did in the house. What I need to know is what these men have you do. Do they make you have sex with other men?
Yes.
Okay. Do they make you use your mouth on other men's sexual organs?
Yes.
Okay. What do they tell you that they'll do to you if you don't do it? He explained that the traffickers beat him if he didn't perform sex acts on the clients.
Yes.
What do they hit you with?
There's a wire on here, on my back.
Okay.
Tried to
Protect yourself? Okay, that's normal. Everybody, if you're being attacked, it's normal to try and protect yourself. It was obvious that he was scared and he was looking for protection. I realize you're not proud of what's happened, so I did my best to make him feel safe. The full size of a man, you can't always protect yourself. I want you to know you're safe, okay? I'm not going to release you back to these people. I'm going to make sure you're okay. Okay? Do you understand that you're safe? We referred him to a social service agency for psychological and medical attention. Later, he testified in court against the traffickers, and we were able to win a conviction against them.
I'm Dan Dwaleski, Special Agent in charge of the San Diego FBI office. You have just witnessed a reenactment of a coordinated prostitution raid in the San Diego area that involved local and federal law enforcement agencies. Joint operations by these agencies and non-governmental organizations have led to successful prosecutions of human trafficking cases. With the passage of the Victims of Trafficking and Violence Protection Act of 2000, victims now have protections and services that were once denied them in the past. Some of these services include access to medical attention, to housing, food, clothing, and legal assistance. We have seen that criminals will stop at nothing to exploit these women and children through threats, intimidation, beatings, and even murder. As profit from human trafficking soar into the billions, these predators will continue to prey on defenseless women and children. As more victims cross into our borders and enter our communities, we must take a proactive approach to end sex trafficking. One such method is the sharing of information on a multi-agency level and a no-tolerance approach to enforcing these crimes. Please contact your local anti-trafficking task force for assistance, additional training, and resources. In the words of Edmund Burke, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing.
As night comes in Cambodia, the team gets ready.
Mate, do you want to put the camera in your pocket and I'll set up the covert camera just so I can see, or do you want me to...
They check their hidden cameras.
All right, let me turn around again.
And try to control the adrenaline.
We're pumped up for maybe, half an hour before the operation.
We're good, go.
These men are undercover investigators. They pose as sex tourists. We've agreed to hide their identities as they hunt for trafficked children.
$10 for 1 hour. And do everything, yum yum, boom boom.
Tonight we're following them to the brothels using our own hidden camera.
So how old this one here? How old? 15.
A child.
This one or this one?
And others appear even younger. The pimps routinely drug the children.
Which one younger?
Jim makes his pick and pays his money. Then a phone call provides the excuse to leave fast with the evidence.
Hang on, mate, we've got to go back to the hotel.
Jim's been doing this work for 4 years now.
The youngest girl we've rescued out of the brothel is 5 years old. But the worst thing that has happened to me is I opened the door and saw an elderly European guy actually having sex with a girl I would estimate was 8 years old. My mind had a lot of issues of what I would like to do, but I had to look at the big picture. I was there doing another job, and if I'd have blown my cover there, I would have jeopardised that job as well.
And
it's taken 2 days to get a warrant to raid the brothel we filmed in.
In here is where all the girls are.
Jim briefs officers from Cambodia's anti-trafficking unit.
So, if you could take the bolt cutter with you, just in case, when the police come, they try to close the door, because I do not want to be locked inside.
Jim then heads back to the brothel, again undercover. The police wait for his signal. But when he gets there, the place is empty.
Hello? Hello?
Someone has warned the pimps.
No. There's been a tip-off. Nobody here. All closed up. All the girls gone.
It's not the first time. How do you feel?
Frustrated, angry. Information has leaked out, and...
Where from? The police, the prosecutors?
Don't know. Can't prove that.
This was supposed to be a success story, but the truth is, the police are losing this war. For every child they do rescue, many more are being trafficked into a thriving and well-protected industry.
Hello, Annette.
But Jim hasn't given up yet.
How are you? Good to see you again.
Tonight he's visiting one of the many girls he has rescued. Vanna was forced into prostitution at the age of 11, but now she's thriving.
You like living here?
Yeah.
You do?
I would be nothing now, she says, if I was still in the brothel. For Jim, that's motivation enough.
Okay, bye-bye. And I'll see you later soon, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye. If I can rescue one girl that has been sexually exploited or prevent her from being sexually exploited, that's good enough for me.
Randy Kay reports now from Atlanta.
Here in Atlanta, sex sells in the sex shops, strip clubs, and on the street. But beneath it all, there is an underground world of child prostitution, a multi-billion-dollar business worldwide. Sex slaves, girls as young as 9, paraded on the streets for money, sold from pimp to pimp, locked inside seedy motel rooms to do the unthinkable.
How bad is it for them?
Some of the girls, some of the girls have reported that they've had to sleep with 40 or more men through the course of a night. We call them Johns, but they're really rapists.
Atlanta is ground zero for child prostitution. Nobody knows how many underage girls are on the streets, but child advocates say it probably runs into hundreds in both poor and wealthy parts of the city. Raids like this one have only made a small dent in this thriving industry. Pimps are taken to jail, girls are freed, but quickly replaced. The Fulton County DA's office told us, quote, from a law enforcement perspective, we need to be much more organized and we need many more resources to adequately combat the plague of child prostitution. Why the interest in girls Experts say the Johns like them because they think they're cleaner than girls who have been on the street for a while. The pimps apparently prefer them because they can control them. They're impressionable and easily manipulated. Shantique Wallace was just 12 when she walked the streets of Atlanta. Her pimp, known on the street as Batman, was willing to take as little as $10 from anyone who wanted to have sex with her. Batman made Shantique have sex with another pimp. Take me back to that night when he forced you to have sex with him.
They told me, if you don't sleep with him, you're gonna die.
Did you truly believe your life was on the line?
Yes. Up to this day, I still do. I still do.
Shantique says she was held prisoner, kept tied spread-eagled to bedposts for 2 weeks in the house her pimp shared with his family. She says sometimes he forgot to feed her. All he wanted was to sell her.
People would come in while I was tied down, look at me, leave out.
Turns out Shantique was being held just 2 miles away from home. Her aunt eventually found her. Other girls remain enslaved on the street for years. The pimps themselves are often drug dealers looking to make an extra buck.
Some are drug dealers and some are in the business of sex because you can only sell a dime.